after he reshuffled his two ministries, which afforded Frederick Shava to oversee the Ministry of Education. But there's more to it, actually. Mnangagwa is on his way to anoint Frederick Shava as his successor. Quite interesting days ahead. And also, King Munhumutapa now is finally out. And you know who it is? Of course. Of course, as the allegations are, it's actually Mnangagwa who is trying to build his own dynasty. And we've been discussing this quite a lot. All right, guys, so before we get into the details of tonight, if it's your first time to come across the channel, please make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell so that every time I'm live or I drop a video, you'll be notified. And also to my regulars, when I say shout out to Chester, good to see you guys. Do not forget to like the live so that we can push algorithm, inviting everyone to the conversation. But I must say to you guys, today, my voice is quite very interesting because, yeah, it's that season. I do not know why, but please just bless me as we move along. Interesting days ahead. Also, I must tell you that Mnangagwa's son actually got a tender to supply election materials in Namibia, which is causing a stir today with the Namibian people. That why of all that can be supply election materials, you choose to work with Mnangagwa, who has always been robbed in a lot of scandal as far as rigging of elections is concerned. We'll look into those issues as well, the Mozambique as well as Botswana. A lot is going on. I can tell you, Zimbabwe trending for wrong reasons, always for the wrong reasons. All right, so here we are now talking about the issue of Mnangagwa's games, who is an interesting chess player, really. But I wanted to remind you, of what Rejoice Ngwenya said. If you guys listen to him carefully, when he had an interview with Dara, HSTV, please get HSTV, I think in conjunction with, in conversation with the Trevor. So I want you to listen to what Rejoice Ngwenya said. Again, that you must, don't sleep. Mnangagwa is at work. He's not playing every day for him. He's making a move. So guys, take a listen, please, to Mr. Rejoice Ngwenya. Interesting days ahead. Yeah, it's getting exciting. Take a listen.
I want to leave you guys with my experience, with your experience, to establish a new political arrangement. The kind of opportunity that he missed in 2017, when there was so much moral and political support, both local, regional, and internationally. Now, what is going to happen now in his last term? Hopefully, he's not going to want to change the constitution again for a third term. You can't put it past nationalists, blessed. We have to keep one eye open. He's going to be retracting now into his own space, a space of fear and distrust and mistrust. Because he's now saying, whoever is coming in, are they going to be able to protect my interests? So that introspection can translate into deeper authoritarianism. So it is a dangerous space that we are in now. A space where he might not trust anybody. So by not trusting anybody, he will want to have legislation that tightens what he would call the loose ends. So that even his successors, it might even be difficult to even talk about successors because you don't want to groom competition if you're a nationalist. So to me, blessed, it's not a pleasant, it's not worth celebrating that he's on his last term. I wish that he had given up and allowed a new generation in ZANU-PF to take over. But this space that he has brought himself in, I think it's going to get him to retract more and more into an authoritarian mode that is going to make life more and more difficult for the citizens of this country.
Interesting. He was right. Rejoice was right. And you can actually see that Mnangagwa may not even trust his own friend. I'm referring to Chiwenga, who actually ushered him in 2017. Now he's choosing to move with Frederick Shava. Right. So he just shuffled these two ministries. And the people were like, why? Well, it doesn't make sense because honestly, a person that has to sell Zimbabwe, the face must speak for itself because the one that has been nominated now, it's quite interesting to know that he's actually representing Zimbabwe to the world. He's selling you and I to the world. All right, but I want to give you my own conspiracies around Mnangagwa as a person. I think he's actually an interesting political player. I must say, I think Mnangagwa since day one, he has been planning just to make sure that at least he controls everything, and he's been doing that. I mean, Mnangagwa is being robbed into Gukura Hundi massacre. You know those allegations again, and there's an issue of corruption that he is actually the most richest man in the country. I remember Jonathan Moses very much corrupt. His hands has been in so many businesses that are attached to the state, which including banks. And also the monies that came from the DRC, allegations are Mnangagwa's hands are also there. He got some money. His children are now controlling almost all these very much sensitive institutions, including the security. The military. They're saying this. Sean, one of his son, has got his own power structure of the military guys. All these are just allegations. Emmerson Jr. is also being accused of so many dubious stuff in the country, which includes that I remember last time people were saying he had everything to do with the consignment of that was caught by the Robert Mugabe in the national airport of cocaine. I'm just saying these are allegations that people are saying. So he's quite an interesting man as a person, and I'm asking myself to say, Mnangagwa is as strong as the Zimbabwean people, allowing him to be. I'm talking about those that are bootlicking him. The bootlickers are the main problem that we have in this country. It's the gullible Zimbabweans who are prepared to sell their souls for trinkets. They are prepared anytime, any day to sell their souls. But I can tell you, Shava is excited because today when they were actually, when he was escaping students that were graduating, Shava was smiling from cheek to cheek to say he's seeing himself as the president of the country. But I must tell you who actually dropped that bombshell. That was Hopo Chingono. Okay? So he was reacting because people have been asking, why did Mnangagwa all of a sudden just swap these ministries, right? He says Frederick Shava must be the Minister of Education. And I must say, did you see that there's quite a bit of work that is being done, especially on technology colleges. I've seen them changing, building also accommodation, trying to modernize those schools. And everything is all a game. It is a game. Just selling Zimbabweans, like literally a fake dream. A fake dream. Because now I want to read what Wopochimono said. He said, many people have been asking me why Zimbabwean tyranny Emmerson Mnangagwa swapped Frederick Shava with Amon Murwira, moving Shava from foreign affairs to education. I didn't know either, but after some investigations, the common thread emerging is that Mnangagwa is preparing for the possibility that if he doesn't secure a third term, he would prefer someone other than his vice president to take over, just as Robert Mugabe was prepared to have someone other than his deputy Mnangagwa succeeding him. The idea behind moving Shava from foreign affairs, which requires extensive travel, is so that he can focus on domestic issues in preparation for that potential bid. Should Mnangagwa's third term bid fail, Mnangagwa and Shava are the only cabinet ministers from the 1980s still active in politics today and in cabinet. Shava carries the baggage of the Willowgate Scandal, but that pales in comparison to the deep corruption in Zimbabwe today. The Willowgate Scandal, also known as the Willowgate Scandal, was a significant event in Zimbabwe's political history that occurred in the late 80s. It involved high-ranking government officials, including Frederick Shava, who was a minister, who were implicated in corrupt activities related to the illegal resale of vehicles. The scandal resulted in the resignation of the 5 members of President Robert Mugabe's cabinet. One of them, Maurice Nyagumbo, committed suicide. I wonder what you would have thought of today's industrial looting under Mnangagwa. The poor guy died just because of just a car. Let us see how things pan out, as we are not far from the moment of truth. So Shava is excited that he may be the one to to sit on the throne of ZANU-PF, and all of a sudden she went. Can you see? I personally, and not that I'm endorsing ZANU-PF at all, but I just like to watch and see what is really going on. Whom do they think they're going to rope into the nonsense this time? Because Zimbabweans have been walking through this nonsense for a very long time. Nobody's willing to be used. anymore. Nobody is prepared to be used. But we are watching. But I must tell you now that we are having the Frederick Shava. There's also the Munhumutapa that we have been asking. So why is Mnangagwa, begin to celebrate his birthday on Munhumutapa Day? Do you remember those questions? I must tell you who Munhumutapa was. Just give me a history in the Zimbabwean situation. The kingdom of Mutapa. And funny enough, when I was reading that, and I wasn't really a love of history, although I passed history, but I wasn't a love of history. I must tell you, I was a Bible knowledge lover. The history thing wasn't my stuff. So Munhumutapa, the king of Mutapa, are sometimes referred to as the Mutapa Empire. Right? Mwene Mutapa in a Shona name. Mwene o Munu, we Mutapa, Portuguese Munhumutapa. So do you know where Nika Akwa Neve Nevayo came from? Do you know now you can see where that came from? So they don't just say words. These words are so much intertwined, with the Mnangagwa's vision that he's trying to build in the country. So fast forward, on the Portuguese term, which means Munhumutapa, is a transliteration of the Shona royal title Mwene Mutapa or Munhumutapa, derived from a combination of two words, Mwene or Munu, meaning man, and Mutapa meaning conqueror. Over time, the monarch's royal title was applied to the kingdom as a whole and used to denote the kingdom's territory on maps from the period. So now they can show you what Mnangagwa was doing. The dynasty that people have been talking about, that's exactly the goal. It's as simple as that. That's exactly his goal. You will see why I say so today. So questions were asked, but why Munhumutapa? Because the Ndebele tried to celebrate the king of the Ndebele, and that they were arrested. The people that were trying to, resurrect that king. Do you remember the story? But why now is he pursuing Munhumutapa? Why? But I can tell you that. Do you remember the time that Mnangagwa was mocked in UK when he went for the coronation of the King of England? Do you remember that? And he was sitting at the far corner as people were laughing at him. Oh, you can see now he went to the space, but nobody respect him. I can guarantee the man was studying, the monarchy in the United Kingdom. He was busy studying. And I also told you that last time when, during the SADC summit, I heard Mnangagwa in his speech kept on referring to the king of Eswatini. And I was like, why is Mnangagwa so sold out to the king of Eswatini? Because that's what he's pursuing. He's finding himself, in this space of being the king in the Zimbabwean territory. Don't forget in the book of Mutambara as well, where he robbed Mugabe into the bush, where, as per Mutambara, that in that bush there was an aunt for Mnangagwa, his mother's sister that was staying in the bush, that he was saying that this woman here is actually Nehanda. She has got the spirit of Nehanda on her. That's why we've got a statue in town. Is literally linking to him and the Nehanda story. Now, the Newsday, on the 24th of August, sent out an article, right? Or they were reporting that the self-styled King Munhumutapa, this is a self-styled individual in Harare, in Zimbabwe. Don't forget the self-styled is also linking to Songezo Shavangu, a self-styled guy who came and caused the entire space, cause a mess in parliament. Now, this individual here, nobody knows him, is an individual that is now standing in Zimbabwe and calling himself the King Munhumutapa, right? An Dodge individual, born, his name is Timothy Chimenya, has written to the local government ministry and the Zimbabwe Chiefs Council claiming that all traditional leaders, including spirit mediums, now fall under him. King Munhumutapa is currently locked in a legal dispute with the Ministry of Justice and local government that is challenging his kingship. Okay. Chimenya has argued that his own PF acknowledged him as King Munhumutapa by using him to perform rituals for the ruling party. In July, he presided over the installation of Jonesias Mugomeri as paramount chief Goredema in Gokwe. In the latest development, Chimenya wrote to Chiefs Council President Kumalo informing him that all the traditional leaders now fall under his kingship. I'm writing to inform you about the recent High Court order ruling stating that all the chiefs will now come under King Munhumutapa after the High Court judgment where Timothy Chimenya, King Munhumutapa, won the case in September 2022. He wrote in his letter dated August 15, 2024. All chiefs must be accredited by King Munhumutapa, and the king will have the final say towards the chiefs, headmen and sabuks, village heads. All traditions, rituals, and spirit mediums must fall under King Munhumutapa. Can you hear that? Must all fall under King Munhumutapa. And this is just a ghost, like the same way in Imposa that happened with Sengezo Shavangu. He copied this letter to ZANU-PF, right? This individual, just a normal person from the street, the office of the president and the cabinet and other ministries. He has got the nerve to do this dude, right? In the interest of unity, peace, and cooperation among all the chiefs in Zimbabwe, we were asking that your office may also cooperate and respect the High Court judgment, he wrote. It is important that we work together towards a common goal and put all our differences aside for the greater good of our people. I urge you to embrace this new arrangement and work with King Munhumutapa towards building a strong and prosperous future for all our people. So this man in Zimbabwe wrote a letter to the president, which includes the Minister of Justice and also the ZANU-PF, just for him to be the one in control of all the chiefs across the country. Masabu, just an individual from nowhere. Because, last night, the judgment was dropped on X. Last night, I told you they do stuff to see how you're going to react to it. This man won, right, to be the king, Munhumutapa, in Zimbabwe, to control the chiefs, Masabuk, and all these ministries. They will be under the powers of this individual. But you don't forget that Mnangagwa celebrated his birthday on the Munhumutapa day that he endorsed. So who's going to be the king? Now social media say Mnangagwa is the king of Munhumutapa. I've told you, he's simply trying to make it easier. But I understand because, we all know that there's a lot that he has done in the country that he knows he's in trouble. So maybe he's trying to protect himself by all means. The question is, would the Zimbabwean people allow him to get away with this? To create a monarchy in Zimbabwe for himself? That's why I said he's an interesting guy, because he has no regard for anybody, absolutely nobody. But do I blame him? He has always been in control since day one. When you listen to the stories in ZANU-PF, this guy has always had an upper hand in many ways. In many ways, I guess that's why Grace Mugabe was very much against him, because she knew how powerful he was in the party. Because I do recall when he was talking to the ministers, and he's telling them that, any deals or anything that has to do with the opposition, you must shrink it, but only support and protect those that are for ZANU-PF. So which means he had powers to do whatever he wants. And I also remember Tambara said when he was called by Mugabe to the office to meet up with Mugabe, the president of Zimbabwe, Mnangagwa and Chiwenga had the powers to block him. That can show you who does that. If I'm a CEO of a company, and then someone wants to come and see me at the office, then there are people who can block that person to meet up with me. What is that supposed to mean? I don't have the powers. The people that are stopping those to come and see me has got the power. I'm not surprised. How did you put the stand when he came to Johannesburg, when he was fired? Within 2 weeks, you went back to Zimbabwe and you were sitting in front of almost everyone. And people don't see because Zimbabweans allow it. There are these ones that are prepared to selling their soul to support all his moves. And he doesn't, all he does is to throw the money on the table. And he gets away with stuff. He throw the money on the table, he get away with stuff. Anyone who's willing to sell their soul, they take the money, he get away with stuff. And that's exactly where we are today. He's almost building his own monarchy in the country. You can see why the children are very much relaxed and doing whatever they want, because they know that they're pulling the cards. You know what? Because Zimbabweans are foolish. We are a foolish lot who allow an individual to do as he pleases. If he wants to abduct, he allows people to abduct a bit. I've never heard him, not in a single day, where he condemned violence in the country or telling people not to abduct innocent people. He does. As we speak, our brothers and our sisters are locked up in prison. He gets away with it. Every time he does whatever he wants, and he gets away with it. Any minute, any day. Now he's very close to build a monarchy for himself. To become the king that controls everything the way that he wants to. A king is powerful more than anyone else. And I know that the king can be powerful more than the president. Because if he's now saying he wants to control the chiefs, what is he trying to say? Let's assume he's no longer the president, but he's the king. He has already built his dynasty of a king. People can say, oh, but what the constitution? Who cares about the constitution as we speak? Do they even care about the constitution? Let's start from there. The constitution only works when they want to nail an innocent person. Then they can find other ways to manipulate. But as far as ZANU-PF is concerned, the constitution do not exist. They only do as they please. Now their behavior as well, again, ZANU-PF trending for the wrong reasons. ZANU-PF is being accused. I can't even say accused. And I must say, the SADC chair, which is Mnangagwa, is being accused of influencing rigging of elections in SADC. The Mozambique now, people are protesting. I mean, we all saw it. We saw Zimbabweans voting in Mozambique. They voted for Mozambique, and they're not even in Mozambique. They were given IDs that they didn't even deserve, most of them. You saw them, that belonged to ZANU-PF. Majority of people that voted, according to the reports, were about 33,000 Zimbabweans who voted for the ruling party that they don't even have a clue about. Now, Karma is where yesterday was on record, today actually, complaining, that is in Botswana, that Mnangagwa and his regimes, ZANU-PF, are trying to help them to rig elections, for Masisi to rig elections. Can you see? I just want SADC to know, remember what we've been saying. These people are toxic, and they can cause chaos. We've been saying it, but they never want to listen to us. But now they can see that we were right. On the other hand, I've told you, Mnangagwa's son won the tender again on the guys. What they do is always use Wikno to be their front. So Wikno is a front that, that is kind of Wikno got a tender. It's not. It's Mnangagwa's son who got a tender to supply electoral stuff in Namibia. Which brings me to the fact that you see, when people were saying they were the ones with this tender, they are just using Wikno as a runner, as a front. Because now there's an issue in Namibia, people are angry. But let me read their report, the Namibian paper. They said that democrats for sale. Shapwa Kanyama and Mnangagwa's son among SWAPO donors. They donated money. Remember last time when I told you that Mnangagwa's child has donated money for elections in Namibia? Why? When in Zimbabwe, people, we've got kids who are suffering. Some of our people are going to bed on empty stomach. It's all about them. It's all about them and their family. So they went on to say controversial individuals and companies were among SWAPO donors over the weekend. They include Rani Group businessman Swapwa Kanyama and the son of Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa. They donated 60 million to the ruling party's campaign for the presidential and parliamentary elections in November. Mnangagwa's donation was part of the 2.5 million contribution from our Zimbabweans. It's unclear which son the donation came from, but it was made by Afia Musavengana, who was introduced at the party's fundraising gala dinner on Friday as a daughter of the Zimbabwean president. Okay. The daughters, you see, this family is interesting. So we have got sons who are doing this stuff. The daughters are also doing their own things. Maybe if I was also his daughter, I would be doing the same. I'm like, my father does as he pleases. He got away with stuff. This sham of an election of last year, you got away with it, right? Kukra, wounded thing, you got away with it. Right? All people have been abducted, tortured over the years. There's always been accusation that, he was part of the security sector. They get away with it, As we speak, people are in prison who never did no wrong. They get away with it. How can they not do as it pleases? I can only imagine if I was in the position. I'm like, no, but my father, who cares? Now he's a daughter. On the other hand, The other one, Rudo, was also accused of actually taking money from the Willowgate Scandal. Money cash. Mnangagwa's children. They do as they pleases. So now the question that everyone was asking is it really Wicklow Shava that got the tender, or it's Mnangagwa's kids that got the tender, but under the guise of Wicklow Shava? Lying, right? They rig elections, they go collect money. It's chaos. Then they said that it's going to be a mafia state. It's going to be a mafia state. And I'm sorry to say this, I'm going to stand on the tower and still calling them out and say, brothers, your time is near. It's fast approaching, little by little. It may sound like a joke, but it's definitely coming for you. People are not stupid. I don't think Chiwenga and these people within ZANU-PF are just sitting and watching and saying, okay, do whatever you want. I don't think so. I definitely don't think so. Because as we speak now, the reports are billions of money was wiped out by Zimbabwean banks recently. So Zimbabweans have lost billions. I don't know, it's a vicious cycle of criminalities that has been going on for decades. There's always, they bring a currency. After that, they wipe people's money. They do the same thing again next to another currency. They wipe people's money. Now we are in this very same situation that we faced then. Today, the reports are people have lost billions because of inflation. Zig, wreak havoc. The same old modus operandi. That's just who they are. That's ZANU-PF for you. They get away with everything all the time. They're getting away with a lot of evil in the country. Now, very disturbing video that is circulating. I think most of you have seen it actually on Tinashe Mugabe. What I'm going to ask you, I'm going to ask you for one thing. If there are men here, women here, girls, whoever you are, please, mothers, talk to your children. We are heading towards a very sensitive time. In 2024, some people don't really have time with their children. Apart from that, we don't have angles who to sit down and talk to our children and give counsel. Please speak to your kids, your family members. Educate them about the dangers of playing around with young girls. Remember now the cut, the cut age, I think of in Zimbabwe should be 18 years if I'm not mistaken. 18 years, eh? Yeah. Anybody, you can't date anyone below 18. So it should be over 18. So educate your children. Sit down with them. Tell your family members. Because sometimes, these are kids. They can act inappropriately and they'll find themselves in prison. Please, because what I'm seeing out there is shocking. It is shocking. But you know what? It boils down to the fact that parents are not spending time educating their children. Sex education is very important. It is really, really important, guys. Gone are the days where Anoint could be standing up and teach, right? Please help your families. You do not want to live with your family in prison for absolutely nothing because they didn't know better. Ignorance is very expensive sometimes. So let's hold hands, help our society. We are having the most wicked, ruthless, useless regime ever. Because this is actually the job of the government. They should be sending people, deploying people in schools, in areas, teaching young people, talk to them, educating society, speaking to parents. That's the purpose of having a government. But in Zimbabwe, it's different. And I had to ask a question. Why do we need councillors, members of parliament, ministers, including the president, when there isn't really much happening in the country, except some few trinkets there, just playing people and playing gimmicks? It's sort of around town. Why not in the rural space? Why aren't you Gokuma Munshau and sort of things? They don't want. They just want to be within the vicinity and be lying to people. This government is a shame. Honestly, it is a shame. But please speak to your family members. Educate them. It is vital in 2024. It is vital. I'm doing the same. I don't care I don't care how old you are, even if you're a boy. I will educate you. As long as you are closer to me, I'll tell you, listen, don't play with women. Don't play with girls. Anything can happen and there'll be consequences. You know what I mean? Please, please, and I beg you, train your children and also help your family members. Not everyone is privy to this information. What? Listen. No. I was almost trying to lose too many wrong. So please forgive me. That was going to be the wrong one. But I'm just saying, let's hold hands. Let's help each other, please, to build a better Zimbabwe. A better Zimbabwe can only be built with you and me. Chinese employers cannot stop abusing Zimbabweans. Cannot stop. In fact, they're actually using guns now to reprimand some of our people. And I must say, guys, speak out. Speak out, Zimbabweans. Don't be abused and let these people get away with murder. Stand firm, for what you believe in. You are not slaves. You are not slaves to Chinese people. What they're doing in Zimbabwe, they don't do it in their country. You know why? Because their country won't even allow that. Okay. So guys, tell me what you think in the comment section. Mr. Mnangagwa, he's pursuit of the dynasty and pursuit of a kingdom. That's what he wants to do. I mean, he saw it's happening in the United Kingdom. When he went there, he was like, oh, I love it. I love it. He loves superiority. He also has been hailing the kingdom of Eswatini. He wants to be like him. He can see this woman, man, he got married to a 16th wife, a 21-year-old. That old man, you see, that lifestyle, you want this kingship, whatever it's called. Building a monarchy in the country, but it's not going to work. Zimbabweans are going to stand firmly to defend the legacy of our country. As the young people won't allow it, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, it will not work. This world is a joke. We want to build a nation that believes in love, in unity, respect. We want men and women in leadership who are not obsessed with positions, but rather serving. We don't see any spirit of servanthood around your people and you and your friends. We just see men who are just obsessed with having titles and control and looting. We're seeing stealing across the country. So please, we want to let you know that the Zimbabwean people will stand firmly to defend their destinies. It's not about your positions. It's not about that. It's not about the party. It's definitely about the future of our people, our children, and generations to come. It's all about posterity. Guys, also, there is an issue that is trending about Magaya, who is desperate to become the ZIFA president. I must say this, we must stand firmly. Let's have a person who has a track record. I still believe Peter Ndlovu can be the perfect person for that position because he's got a track record of playing soccer. I mean, having Magaya must go back to the prophet place and do whatever he does. I can't even begin to fathom that a prophet, right? A prophet of God who is claimed to be of God can even be, having appetite to actually be the ZIFA president. I don't understand where the two can. Guys, listen, I don't get it. A prophet that speaks the mind of God cannot. But that can just tell you that it has nothing to do with prophets. It's all about it's a game. It's a game, and he's very much linked to ZANU-PF. We want to destroy a ZANUism in the country. We must have a country that is built on principles where the right people get the positions and actually deliver. Not because it's my friend or because I know the bill. It's all about connection. I spoke to someone today, like in Zimbabwe, you have to be employed if you are connected to someone. We don't want that. We don't want that. You must be employed because you have the qualities or the experience or the education to be able to actually deliver. In my opinion, we don't want all these gimmicks. We are tired of gimmicks. So, Peter Ndlovu for ZIFA president. Let's stand firmly and promote that. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm still stuck to my guns. Peter is the right candidate to actually be the ZIFA president. I love you guys. I'm almost signing out today, because of other things that are coming up. And I will see you tomorrow morning. I love you. God bless you and God bless Zimbabwe. Bye for now.